Want to have your SEO questions answered live? At SEOtraining.com, we offer our members monthly Q&A calls with the father of SEO himself, Bruce Clay. In this series, we are going to share some of the SEO questions that have come in from our members during our live recordings. So if you want to participate and ask your questions to Bruce in our next call, sign up to become a member today at SEOtraining.com. Enjoy.
In your opinion, what will be the future of search in the next few years?
It's going to keep going. Well, if you look at search over the last 25 years, it's changed dramatically. I think that we were clearly desktop. There's multiple answers here. Desktop became mobile. Will mobile become voice? I think voice will become more important. But I think it isn't going to be used for deep research. But I think it'll be more important. But I think mobile is here to stay. At one point, there were mainframes, then there were PCs, and now there's mobile. And I don't know what the next one will be. Do I believe that virtual reality will be important? In some cases, I think it could be, especially for e-commerce sites, where in a virtual reality world, I can see things and spin things around, and it's three-dimensional, and I can understand it a little bit better. And I can imagine a lot of 3D kinds of applications, but I don't think it's all over the board. Will holograms be there for search results? Will the Star Trek computer, where it just answers all your questions, be there? I don't think so. What I do think that is important is to understand that there are so many different topics on the planet. I mean, there's a trillion websites, right? Google will never have enough resources, ever have enough resources to be an expert in all of those particular categories. They won't hire enough people. There's no way for them to be the expert. The only way that works is if we are the experts and Google gets to use our data. Because then they're not paying us for our salary to be the expert. They're counting on websites to be the expert. They're just going for the ride and hoping to sell ads. So I think that search will remain the same. I think that, by the way, voice search is the biggest risk to Google, because if 100% of everything were voice search, nobody'd be clicking on ads. And I think that would be a risk to Google. But they still want to be able to present the best answer. Where do I see it going? I think we're going to have to pay attention. Desktop is still here. It's not going away. And for deep research projects, it's preferred. We've enabled people to get access to information. It's not going to go away. It's still growing today. Mobile today, in my opinion, is mostly for casual search, not research. The query no-click ratios, 30% of the queries on a desktop, 34% or so, get no clicks. Over 60% of the mobile searches get no clicks. So maybe they're simple questions like, how many movies has a particular star been in? And Google answers it, and you don't need to click on anything. Things with answer boxes. How tall is the Eiffel Tower, right? 900 and some meters or something. Well, once it tells you that, you don't need to click on anything. What is the temperature outside? You get the answer. You don't have to click on anything. Maps, different kinds of things are high mobile engagement, but you're not necessarily going to a website. I think those are going to be a lot of the searches done. I think we're going to see mobile has a lot of searches, but I don't think they're going to be substance. I think they're going to be casual searches. And there's still a lot of people that don't even know how to use a phone. So we got to understand that. I think desktop search is, even though mobile is where Google is going, there is a desktop spider and there is a mobile spider. The index at Google is built with the mobile spider. They haven't upgraded or retrofit anything into the desktop spider for years. Still exists. It can still run if it needs to, because you're not mobile friendly, but it's the mobile spider that's going to get you in the index. So where is the future? Well, the current future is you have to have expertise, authority, trust. You have to have content appropriate for the intent of the query. You have to be crawlable, spiderable. You have to have some depth of content. You can't have spammed. And you have to look, in my opinion, for where Google is going to be and the kinds of things they're talking about and where do you think that should go? And that's the future of search. I think search is going to be here for years. I think that as long as Google cannot possibly be the expert, which I think is forever, websites are going to be necessary. I think that spidering may not be necessary. It may be that we're in WordPress and we say publish and it goes straight into the index. They don't have to spider your site anymore. You hit publish, it's indexed automatically. I can see that happening, but it's still the content has to come from the website. Whether it's a web page that gets spidered or you feed it into the index, it's still coming from the website. And I think that'll be here forever. And I think that Google cannot possibly determine who is the best at everything. If the number one result was always the very, very best, number two would get no clicks. Right? I mean, unless you just like going down and clicking on things. So, and if number one organically was always the answer, ads would drop. I think Google is counting on a little bit of search result chaos in order to sell ads. And that's just, what's the future? It's going to be more of the same for about 2 years. I think we're going to see evolution in the algorithm. I think usability will grow. I think that there'll be different kinds of exciting things that Google will release and we will cope with it. An interesting thing, in my opinion, is that if you think about it, over the course of any 1 month, 100% of search never changes. Maybe 10% changes, maybe 5% changes. And then next month, it's a different 5%, and then a different 5%, and then a different 5%. And so as a result, search is always evolving, but it's never evolving at such a depth that you can't continue to do SEO. It's just evolving at enough that you have to constantly be doing training. That's why we have a membership, because there's no doubt in my mind that it's always evolving. But it's never 100% going to evolve. It's going to be an evolution, not a revolution, when it comes to search.
Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was trying to think more about the questions. The question's a little bit broad, and we've gotten this question many times before, but in regards to, I always kind of categorize this as, well, if you're talking about search, there's really only two ways for online searching for a person to search. That's either by voice or by typing it out. That's literally only two ways. Unless you're talking about the tools that we're going to be using, that's a separate category for me in terms of what you mean by what is the future of search. And obviously, Google is the 10,000 pound gorilla in the room that we all pay attention to because they just kind of have mostly a monopoly on this at this point, and they don't qualify that yet. But as far as what tools are going to be evolving, we don't know. Google's again the monster we keep looking at because that's where everything is. My own personal thing I keep looking at is blockchain. I think that is new technology that is changing a lot of things. That's separate from Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's a whole other separate conversation. But the technology of blockchain is actually really interesting in how it's changing everything online. So I would keep your eye peeled on that and see kind of where that goes, because I think that could be something that we will see evolve more over time. Again, that's not our opinion on Bitcoin or anything like that. It's a separate thing. But blockchain, the technology that stuff runs on, is very, very fascinating. So keep an eye out for that. But very good question. We get that one a lot. That's a very popular question.
If you want to join our next Q&A call, be sure to sign up to become a member at SEOtraining.com so you can ask your questions live. As a member, you'll also have access to dozens of hours of training videos as well as our SEO tools and ebooks. SEO is always evolving and you need a way to stay up to date. So if you want to raise your SEO to the next level, be sure to sign up today at SEOtraining.com. Thanks for watching.